word make?
Yes.
What difference does a word make, Dave Cornell?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Welcome. Tonight I'm going to start with telling you a little about something about myself and something that happened to me, and it might be interesting to tell you about. I was sitting one day, Sunday, listening to my pastor speak, and he was talking about some verse in the Bible and was shown on the video screen. And he went on and he said that the word church was derived from the Greek word ecclesia. And I was looking at the video and I was going, oh, wait a minute, ecclesia, church. I couldn't see any relation. I said, usually I can pick out, you can usually see where it came from and say, okay, but I didn't see it. So I kind of, in the back of my mind, I said, well, I'm going to have to investigate sometime and see for myself. Kind of, I could believe my pastor, and I like the guy, I respect him, but just something didn't sit right. So I decided to find out for myself. So one day I was sitting at home on the computer, like I do, and it kind of struck me that, oh yeah, I was gonna look up church and where that came from. So I did, and that kind of took me on this strange tale of how the word church came to our English language. What I found was that there's a lot more involved. It turned into more like a conspiracy, manipulation of how the word just simply didn't come from the New Testament in Greek and end up in our English language. So to start out, I'd like to start with a few definitions from Webster's dictionary. The first one is transliteration, which is it's the practice of replacing, in this case, Greek letters of a word with English letters to form a new word with a distinctive meaning. And then there's translation, of course, which is the practice of replacing, in this case, a Greek word with an English word of similar meaning or intent. And that's the most common practice. And then we come to church, which, of course, is a place of worship or a formally organized body of believers. Or the origin is listed, which is kind of debatable, as Greek kyriakos, which means house of the Lord. But in my research, I've seen this kind of an attempt at backfitting the word, but there really is no connection to the Greek. But you do have the word itself, ecclesia. And if you look in the dictionary, it says in ancient Greek that was a public legislative assembly of Athenians. This was long before Jesus Christ or any of that. And then the same definition, and this is the cautious part, it says a church, either a body or a building. And the odd thing about that is that the full circle of the replaced word suddenly defining the original word, which I have found to be a little debatable. So I just want to kind of present both sides. The 3 points to make here is where church came from, ecclesia, and what does it mean, and then what does church mean today. So what I found, the real roots, because English comes from England, and in the Old English, they have words called circ and kirk, which meant a circle. And the Old English people used to met, the Druid days way before the Christianity, and they would meet in circles, and they would build stone circles, and they would meet there, and that became associated with worship. And so worship in English, when Christianity came in, became a circle, or a church as it turned, became associated with circles. So then we come up to, from this book, Herbert Gordon May's book, Our English Bible in the Making. King James believed in the divine right of kings. He was defender of faith and head of the state and the Church of England. So he believed he was responsible to God alone, not to the subjects. So he, in order to keep control and maintain his hierarchy of his church, he ordered there to become a translation of the Bible. So he decided to, in 1611, to 54 scholars, 15 rules, and one of the rules was you won't translate the word ecclesia for congregation. You'll use the word church. So that's when it came into the conspiracy kind of role. It took the ultimate word that I thought had become lost or obsolete, which was church. To me, it's just polarizing, discriminating, and divisive, is actually not a word that came from scriptures at all. The congregation or assembly, the more appropriate definition of the word, in my opinion, is where we should replace in the English language. I don't believe we need a spiritual middleman, and it's not really about an institution, it's about people. So what I've learned from this as an American, I value truth, freedom. I don't like to be misled or manipulated. And the little adventure has revealed my belief that we must keep a questioning attitude, question what man does, question authority, seek the truth and the way. And thank God I live in the USA. Thank you very much.
And that's the reason you take down the agenda, because Dave just walked off.